My name is Susan Miller. I'm 47 years old. I've been married to John for 25 years. Our family includes John, who is also 47, and our daughter Emily, who is in high school. But something happened because of John that almost broke our family apart. It all began when John forgot his phone at home one day when he went to work. He's always on that thing during meals. It's no wonder he leaves it behind sometimes. When I picked up his phone, I saw messages from a woman I didn't know. Are you coming over today or staying with your wife? I need to talk to you, Mia, so please come over. What is all this? I panicked as I read the shocking messages. Then my husband John, realizing he'd forgotten his phone, returned home. Do you know where my phone is? It looks like I left it at home. Come on, if you have it, just give it back. I'm going to be late for work. What's going on? Who's this legal wife? And who's Mia? When I confronted him, John seemed surprised at first but then sighed heavily and began to explain. I was planning to tell you about this. I had everything prepared, but I guess getting caught now is probably the right timing. The right timing? What do you mean? Just like you're thinking, I have a mistress. Those messages you saw were from her. What? You've been cheating. For how long? I guess it's been over 15 years now. Over 15 years? Yeah, her daughter is in junior high school now. She's technically my child. She would be Emily's half-sister. She's facing high school entrance this year. It's going to be tough. So I'm planning to divorce you and marry her. I intend to support my daughter as a father. I couldn't understand what John was saying at all. Daughter Emily is your daughter too, isn't she? Don't you care about her? I didn't say I didn't care about her. Emily has been my precious daughter for 17 years too, but I don't plan to take her with me. It would be awkward to have a daughter who's not biologically related to her mother and the family, you know. Everyone would feel uncomfortable. So I'll leave Emily to you. In return, I'll make sure to pay child support until she graduates from college. And if Emily reaches out, I'll be willing to talk. So that should be fine, right? Are you serious? I'm dead serious. In fact, I think I'm offering a pretty good deal. Oh, and here, I shouldn't forget to give this to you. What's this? I've already filled in my part, so just write down yours and submit it. Let me know once you've filed the divorce papers. I'll come to pick up my stuff once the divorce is finalized. Wait a minute. What are you saying? You're not coming back. Yeah, I'll be living at her place from now on. I'll talk to my folks. You just take care of Emily and don't do anything unnecessary. Well then, thanks for the last 25 years. Take care. Hey, just wait. John handed me a divorce paper and left the house in his usual attire for work. I'm sure her place must have been prepared with all the living necessities for him. How could this? What am I supposed to do now? What's wrong? Why are you upset so early in the morning? Did something happen? My daughter Emily, who was home for the school holiday, came over to me as I was feeling distressed. I shouldn't have burdened her with such heavy news, but in that moment, I ended up telling her everything. Dad has a mistress. He gave me this and left. What? Cheating? And this is a divorce paper? Is Dad serious about this? Why would he? He apparently has another child with his mistress. A child? So I have a half-sister? Yes, from another mother. And what did he say about it? He said he'll pay child support. To take care of you. What about apologies to you? Well, you're the one most affected, Mom. And there are no apologies. What is he thinking? After hearing my story, Emily bit her lip, thinking for a moment before responding. I see. If Dad's going to act like this, then we'll have to come up with our own plan. Huh? What do you mean? Don't worry, it's nothing dangerous. Since Dad seems to have no remorse for betraying us for over 15 years, we'll make sure he deeply regrets what he did. But of course, that requires some planning. But Mom, you're not blaming yourself for Dad's actions, are you? It's all Dad's fault. You don't need to feel guilty. We don't need to hold back. As we watch Dad face the consequences, he's getting what he deserves. So it's only fair that we make sure Dad understands the pain he's caused, right? Well, my daughter is actually the smartest kid in the USA. Her intelligence has amazed adults since she was little. She probably already has a plan in mind for this. Just wait, Mom. I promise I'll make Dad regret what he did. With that, Emily wore a mischievous smile. A month later, Emily and I had settled into our new routine, just the two of us. The door creaked open, and in walked my husband John, but with patches of his hair shaved off as if by a clipper. The first thing he said was, "What the hell were you thinking?" Dad stormed into the house with clippers in hand. "After hearing everything from you, look what you've done to me," he said, pointing at his patchy haircut. John went on a tirade. He explained how he was relaxing at his mistress's house when suddenly his father showed up with clippers and gave him an unplanned haircut. Then he managed to escape and rushed back home in this state just to give me a piece of his mind. "I warned you, didn't I? I talked to Dad, so you weren't supposed to do anything unnecessary. You know how much Dad hates dishonesty. He's always been strict with me because of that, and it's been traumatic. Despite knowing that, you still went and told on me. Are you jealous? Jealous that we might be happy while you're stuck in misery? Is that why you haven't filed for divorce yet? Then you spill everything to Dad. You're truly pathetic. The reason I cheated was because I couldn't stand this side of you, you coward. That's when it happened. What are you misunderstanding? It wasn't Mom who told Grandpa everything. It was me," my daughter calmly responded to the raging John. "What? So Grandpa attacked with clippers, huh? Just as I expected." "What do you mean, as expected? Emily, did you tell Grandpa to attack me with clippers?" "No, I didn't say that. I just handed something to Grandpa, proof of your affair. This goes back a month. Hey Mom, what do you think is the scariest thing to Dad in this world?" Soon after John left, Emily asked me that question. The scariest thing to him? Yes, that would be Grandpa. I once asked Dad what he was most afraid of in this world. He immediately answered Dad. I had also heard about it before. My father-in-law detests dishonesty above all and wouldn't hesitate to correct anyone behaving improperly, even strangers. John was raised strictly by my father-in-law since childhood and said he could never go against him. Dad said before he left, "I'll talk to Dad about it, so don't do anything unnecessary." That's because the last thing Dad wanted was for Grandpa to find out about this situation. So I'm pretty sure Dad won't tell Grandpa the real reason for the divorce. He might say we just couldn't agree on things, or worse, he might even claim he cheated. That's terrible. That's why we need to act first to prevent that from happening. Plus, there's another benefit to telling Grandpa first. Dad is an employee at the company Grandpa runs. Dad got the job through connections, thanks to Grandpa, and has climbed up to the position of manager. Can you imagine what would happen if Grandpa, who hates dishonesty, found out about Dad's affair and secret child of over 15 years? It's going to be a big mess, maybe even a trigger for Dad to get fired. Dad seems to have earned some trust at his company, but Grandpa is definitely Dad's Achilles heel. That's why I plan to use this to our advantage and push Dad into the depths of hell. But first, I need to gather solid evidence of the affair to make Grandpa understand. Saying that, Emily opened the laptop Dad had left behind. Evidence. How are you going to? Normally, you'd need a detective agency to catch evidence of an affair. And there's probably a password on that laptop, right? I doubt you'd leave anything compromising on it. Normally, yes, but I don't need any of that. There's no point in paying someone to find something that's right here. Saying that, my daughter dismissed my concerns and rapidly typed on the keyboard, managing to unlock it in just a few seconds. She then extracted all the relevant information contained within. Wow, you really unlocked it. Well, of course. This is nothing for me now. Let's see what kind of evidence Dad left on this laptop. From their exchanges, it looks like Dad's mistress was an ex-girlfriend they reconnected. When I was still in your belly, Mom, that reunion sparked an affair that lasted over 15 years. Look, here's a photo. Dad's mistress seems to be this woman. Mom, do you recognize her? The photo Emily showed me was one of Dad and his mistress looking very close. I had seen the woman in the photo before. She's Dad's childhood friend. She got married early and moved away from her hometown. But after her divorce, she came back. I met her once when we visited his parents. I see. So she came back to town, and that's when the affair started. I'm truly appalled by my own father. Suddenly, Emily froze upon seeing a particular photo. What's wrong? Did you find something? Look at this. Emily looked at a photo of a girl who appeared to be the hidden child. Probably this is my half-sister, Dad's secret child. Are you okay? If it's too hard for you, Mom can take over, and you don't have to do this anymore, Emily. No, it's not that I mind. I want to see this through to the end. Saying that, Emily turned back to the computer. It seems like this girl hasn't been officially recognized as Dad's child. He hasn't acknowledged her. Well, that makes sense. He was probably planning to acknowledge her after the divorce. I'm not sure if this girl knows about us yet, as Dad said. It's confirmed he has a secret child, but I found out something else that's shocking. Shocking? Dad seems to have bought them a condo. What? A condo? Yes, a new condo right in front of the station. Given the location and it's a high-rise, it must be quite expensive. Oh look, the price is listed online. When I checked the price of the condo my husband bought for his mistress, it was a whopping $1 million. On the other hand, we live in a rental condo I've been leasing since my single days. We discussed buying a house many times, but his consistent response was renting is more cost-effective. So there was this reason behind it. Is that all the information? I was expecting a bit more, honestly. Isn't this enough? It's sufficient, but I wanted more concrete evidence, like photos of them coming out of a hotel. The information we got from this computer includes the mistress and the hidden child's names and photos, and the fact that Dad bought a condo for his mistress. How about we make a direct visit to the condo? If we capture photos of them coming out, that could serve as evidence. Aren't you curious about what kind of life they're leading? Saying that, Emily grinned mischievously. The next day, we headed to the condo where we presumed Dad was staying. The condo looks bigger than in the photos. Really, it's surprising he had enough money to buy a condo for his mistress. Where did he get the money? Mom, isn't that Dad? Looks like they're heading out as a family, Emily pointed. And there were Dad, his mistress, and the hidden child. I quickly captured their image on my camera. From the outside, they look like a normal family. You wouldn't think he's been having an affair for 15 years. They must be considered a happy family by the neighbors. At that moment, we overheard a conversation from the three passing right by our hiding spot. Hey, when's the divorce going to be finalized? You shoved the divorce papers at your official wife before leaving, right? Yeah, but she seems reluctant. Hasn't got any message that she submitted the divorce papers, even though I said I'd pay alimony. What's she hesitating for? Maybe she still has feelings for you, who knows? But even if that's true, you're the only one for me since the beginning. I have no intention of getting back with her, John. Hey Dad, what about me? I'm more important than that other daughter, right? Of course you're my only daughter, Mia. Yay, I don't care if she goes to some famous high school or whatever. Dad chose me. I wonder what kind of face she's making now, being abandoned by Dad. Poor thing. Hearing their outrageous conversation left us astounded. Then, I thought she didn't know since she's not recognized, but she knew about us. No need to hold back then. Let's not just plunge Dad into hell. But those two as well. Emily seemed even more determined to seek revenge after overhearing their talk, glaring at the three with a wrathful expression. But it's good we came here. We got a video of the three leaving the condo, and thanks to their chatter so close to us, we caught their entire conversation. With this evidence, I bet we can demand a much higher amount, and Grandpa won't stay silent for sure. With that evidence in hand, we went to a law firm to draft the claim documents. For the finishing touch, Emily and I headed to my in-laws' house. It's rare for you to visit without notice and just the two of you at that. Something happened. Actually, I shared everything that had occurred with my in-laws, Mike and Lily. Mike started trembling and then exploded in rage. Over 15 years of cheating, and he even has a secret child. That bastard, where is he now? He's been at his mistress's place since he left in the condo he bought her, right in front of the station. What? When Dad said, my daughter is only Mia. Only you, does Dad hate me? After living together all this time, he values that woman's child more. And if Mom and Dad get divorced, does that mean I'm no longer Grandpa and Grandma's granddaughter? I don't want that, Emily. That's not going to happen. Even if they get divorced, you're our only granddaughter. Don't worry, Grandpa will make sure he pays for this. His expression was exactly like Emily's that time. He had a look of burning vengeance on his face. And then, a few days after we left his house, Mike, armed with a clipper, raided the apartment where he was staying. That's how we got to this point. You did this. Sorry to shock you, but I have something to give you. With that, I handed my ex-husband a brown envelope. What's this? Open it, you'll see. He hesitantly opened the envelope and turned pale upon seeing the contents. What? Why? Inside the brown envelope were documents related to child support and division of property. Why? You're wondering why Dad did warrants paying this entire amount, right? I can't understand why you'd question that. But this amount is just since you seem not to understand. Let me explain. It was determined by several factors. I think what Dad has to pay Mom is fair. For that amount, I still have an issue with the amount, but this division of property is absurd. Why do I have to sell the condo I bought? That's ridiculous. I thought you'd say that. What? The condo you bought for your mistress in your name is subject to division of property. That's a well-established fact. It's not something you can argue against. What about them then? You're not telling me they have to leave, are you? Exactly. If a house is being sold, the people living there need to leave. You're heartless. I'll throw those words right back at you. After all these 15 years, you've really outdone yourself in deceiving us, you coward. You seem quite unhappy with these documents, but no matter what you say here, Dad's wishes won't be met. These aren't documents we made up. They were professionally drafted by a lawyer we hired. So if you have any issues with the amount, why don't you hire a lawyer yourself and file an appeal? Whether that'll be successful or not, I can't say. Hearing this, my husband blurted out, Okay, I get it. I'll break it off with her and move out of that condo. That's what you want, right? Apparently, the idea of paying hefty alimony was too much for him. He said he'd break up with her and return home. However, things didn't go as he had hoped. Break up? Move out? Do as you like. It's no longer my concern. Not your concern. This is about us. We're married. We should talk more. Are you misunderstanding something? We're nothing to each other anymore, complete strangers. What are you saying? But you haven't submitted the divorce papers yet. That's only because I've been too busy dealing with your mess to get in touch. I submitted the divorce papers the day you left, so we're already divorced. What? Too bad, Dad. It's too late. The divorce papers have been processed, and you two are divorced. As for the documents, we'll be claiming accordingly. Damn it. And don't forget about the child support payments. I heard it from Mom. You said it yourself, right? That as a father, you would diligently pay child support until I graduate from college. Thinking back, I can't recall any fatherly things you've done for me, but at least for this last part, be responsible and live up to your word, Dad. Jan was left speechless by Emily's words. Then, that moment came. A call came through on my phone. It was John's father, Mike, probably anticipating that the ex-husband had stormed back to me. He called, and his guess was spot on. Seeing that I was on the phone with his father, the ex-husband's face turned pale. Mike wants to talk to you, Dad. No, tell him I'm not here. That's impossible. Besides, Dad knows you're here, so avoiding him now will only make things worse later, won't it? Reluctantly, he took the phone and started talking. Dad, what do you want? I didn't. Why do I have to come home? Wait just a minute. Hey, what did he say? He said I have to come home because he has something to talk about. Well, you better go then. Go? Are you kidding? If I go to Dad, I'm finished. What should I do? But fretting about it here isn't going to help, is it? What do you mean? Grandpa said you're fired. Why? I don't know the details, but if it's serious enough for a firing warning over an affair, you must have done something quite bad, right? Well, looks like you do have an idea by that expression. Then you better hurry to Grandpa's place. Hearing his daughter's words, the ex-husband rushed out of the house in a panic. It seems his position meant everything to him after all. Dad, that was quicker than expected. I heard from Emily. Are you serious about firing me, Dad? Just because of this affair, which has nothing to do with work. And now you're firing me? This is clearly wrongful dismissal. Wrongful dismissal? Have you forgotten all the mistakes you've made? Unauthorized absences, being late, trouble with employees at partner companies are everyday occurrences. Other employees had to clean up your messes while you strolled around like you own the place because you're the president's son and the presumed next president. It's only natural you be laid off for this. This is a fair decision. But so suddenly. True, I've turned a blind eye until now because you're my son, but that ends today. What do you mean by that? After today, I'm cutting ties with you. You betrayed the two people you should have cherished most, trying to find happiness just for yourself. You're no longer my son or anything to me. Never show your face to me again. No, this can't be true. To my father-in-law's declaration, the ex-husband was fired. Furthermore, being told that their familial bond was severed, he collapsed to his knees, screaming in agony. When my father-in-law told us this, Emily and I high-fived each other. However, a few days later, he did as Emily suggested and hired a lawyer to dispute my claims, but his appeal was rejected. In the end, he had to pay exactly as I initially demanded. It seemed John's mistress was entirely dependent on the ex-husband's salary, being a part-time housewife with a meager monthly income. Hence, I admit to what I've done and I'm reflecting on it, but I can't pay such an amount. Half? No, even a 30% reduction would be appreciated. She pleaded for a reduction, as if haggling at a market, but I rejected it. Eventually, her parents had to pay off the debt in her stead. Thus, even though he got his wish to remarry his mistress, he ended up in a terrible living situation. Of course, the hidden child who was supposed to enroll in high school couldn't do it due to her parents' self-inflicted plight. As for us, then, Mom, I'm going to take care. You too, it's really dangerous out there these days. I know, Emily. If anything happens, make sure to contact me. Even if nothing happens, I'll still check in often, and I'll come back home, even if you get tired of me. Since then, Emily has been attending a university and is living on her own for the first time today. But I'm not too worried. After everything she's managed to pull off almost single-handedly, I'm sure she can overcome anything that comes her way.